Can you guess what this is gonna be? It's not finished yet.
An elephant, an anteater.
An elephant and an anteater.
Your mother.
Andrew said your mother.
Is it gonna? Oh, you know what? It might be a snail.
Andrew said a snail.
Could be a snail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheater. They were never gonna guess otherwise.
Oh.
So what?
What was it?
It was a snail. It's gonna be a snail.
Oh, okay.
But it's gonna have like fruit shells.
Nope.
There's a whole bunch of different patterns. Welcome, one and all, to the My Mom Has Tourette's podcast, episode 20-something. It's been a few weeks, sorry about that, but I'm Nathan.
I'm Josh.
I'm Andrew.
And I am Nathan. And this week, we learned one of our mothers used to race strangers in her Honda CR-V. How's everyone doing?
She's a bad mama jamma.
Bad mama jamma.
Bad mama crappie, right?
Andrew.
What's up?
I wanted to tell you that I learned how to make chili. It's 200 calories a cup.
That's
That
not
sounds
bad at all.
fantastic.
So 3 cups is 600 calories, and it's got potatoes in it, so it's more satiating. So
Ooh.
you stay full longer.
Well, I'll be careful with the potatoes,
Yeah,
but that
I
does
know.
sound like a really good idea.
And
You're trying to kill him.
Turkey meat. Like you could do extra turkey meat.
Oh,
Or,
yeah, for
can you do
sure.
rice?
I just really got to watch my carb intake is all. I usually save all my carbs for dinner anyways, because I'll
Fair
have...
enough.
I do like the intermittent fasting now. So
Yeah, I love that,
from
actually.
noon to 8. Yeah, from noon to 8 is when I eat, and I break my fast with a protein shake every day at noon. So I really just eat once a day.
Love protein shakes. I drink one like every
It's
day
actually
too.
not bad. The one I make, there's like 2 of the protein powders that I use. One of them has like half of my vegetables I need in a day, and then I take pills for the rest of them because vegetables suck, salads are evil. And so I mix that with a protein powder that actually tastes good. It ends up being 50 grams of protein anyways that I just chug for lunch. It's pretty great.
All right. Well,
All right.
good stuff.
So after that sidebar,
you should try Brussels sprouts.
I love Brussels sprouts. I had Brussels sprouts this weekend.
They're so good.
Brussels sprouts are disgusting.
All right. So everyone doing good. How was your week 2, 3 weeks, however long it's been? I don't even know.
Good. I wrote down notes about all of you guys that you have to talk about. So
That's
scared.
rough. And not condescending. It's kind of invasive, but that's all right.
I accept.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, tell us about your car.
What about it? It's fine.
Well, now, but because you're like, I thought I told you, but you never
Oh,
did. So now nobody knows what happened.
I still thought I told you. That's what's funny. So after I got out of the hospital, I went to go to my follow-up appointment like a day or 2 after I went out of the hospital. And some lady backed into my car causing $4,000 worth of damage.
That's
so
awesome.
That was fun.
Where was the car at?
Yeah, so my car was parked where I usually have to park it close to my house, which is on the road, which we ain't doing that anymore, Chief. We're going to just be taking a walk to get to my house, and I don't care.
How did she even manage to do this?
I don't know, 'cause I
other
wasn't
than
there.
with all love and respect toward her absolute stupidity.
Actually, you don't have to have respect for her. I have her saved in my phone as she hit my car, that bum.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. And
bum.
So she was some old lady, but she was really nice, and she's like, I have good insurance. I'm sure they'll pay for it. And they did.
That's good,
it was
at
just
least.
annoying.
Yeah, no,
Because
that
it took
sucks.
a while to get
Yeah.
it fixed. Everywhere was like 3 weeks wait, and it was pretty crummy. But let's see, there's that. I've been doing pretty decent with my whole like eating better thing because I found out I have diabetes, and so I've been doing well with that. Josh kind of hopped on that bandwagon, even though it was for unrelated reasons. He just decided, hey, eating better is gonna be dope, fam. So we're both kind of doing that together. let's see. I was going to mention something about that.
I don't think they say dope fan anymore.
But anyways, yeah, so that was pretty much my couple weeks. Nothing really crazy, I guess, but yeah. Only other real kind of fun thing we had was we had our men's retreat this weekend at the church, so that was cool.
Nice.
Oh, I heard some things about that too. Good job.
Oh boy.
A lot of people
thank you.
liked you.
Well, that's good. I'm glad people liked me because it'd be really crappy if they didn't.
True that.
It'd be kind of funny.
Yeah. Joel basically picked on me to teach his lesson. That was fun.
Sounds like Joel.
And then he did it in
Pawn
Sunday
off to
school the
someone
next
else.
day. Like, come on, bro. Give me a break.
Get some new material.
Fair enough.
Maybe I need to do something crazy for Joel so he has more teaching material in the future.
Not a bad idea.
That's how we get him to teach. But anyways, Joshua, how was your weeks?
Oh, it was good. I got some things written down. So I've got this gigantic mouse pad. If I take my hands like I'm trying to grasp a basketball, it's like the size of two of them. And
that was a weird way to
have this-
describe the
That was a
size of
weird
something.
comparison, yeah.
That didn't help me.
I have
That actually
this
made it more
mouse wrap.
confusing. Okay, but that's how is that a basketball?
Well,
Mine's
no, the
bigger
mouse-
and
the
it's
mouse
Spider-Man. Haha.
pad- the
My mouse pad is like takes up a whole desk.
Yeah, my mouse pad's like
Same.
this wide and this long. But
Mine's
this
like-
is my mouse. Like, I go like this and use the mouse. And
This wide.
when my son comes in, he just starts ruining everything on the computer desk. Taking it, throwing it, destroying it, just... So it went missing.
I wonder
for, like,
where he gets
You
that
are a
from.
father who has control over that.
Not when I'm at work.
Fair enough. I guess it's like our cats.
Beat him.
So, oh yeah. It was missing for like 2 weeks. And one day, my wife was like, "What's that on the floor underneath your chair?" She goes, "I found your mouse pad, your mouse rest." And I'm like, "No, you didn't." And I look, and I swear, because I had everybody in the house looking for it, like it was hidden somewhere. And I swear somebody just decided to like cover their tracks and throw it on the floor. But for 2 weeks, it must have been sitting right there. So I finally found it. Second thing is I've been hearing a lot. There's a big thing going on about smelling salts. And I was like, oh, that's got to be some crazy stuff. And I listened to a lot of Joe Rogan.
I've heard nothing
and he
about
had
smelling
these
salts recently. I'm very nervous
crazy
as to where
smelling
this story is
salts.
going.
And Megan and I have been going to the gym and losing weight. And I was like, well, let's get some smelling salts to help work out. And then if we're like tired after the gym, like maybe they'll help keep us awake. So I Googled the kind that like Joe Rogan had on his podcast. And I bought them. And they're like Juju Mufu smelling salts.
I don't know if you're really supposed to use that unless you really need it.
Yeah.
Like you need to wake someone
So,
up from.
Well,
Oh,
you can use them when you work out to like get extra reps and stuff in.
that
But-
sounds not healthy, but I don't know
It's
anything
very
about it.
dangerous.
That
but
That
that's
doesn't
okay.
sound
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, there is, but that's okay.
I mean, also coming from Joe Rogan, I wouldn't trust that. So that's
It's the equivalent of, you know, hey, this will help you lift this off your chest for the same way that somebody sticking a finger in your rectum would do it.
oh,
Hey,
Just
okay,
because
people
it's like
both of them.
Fair
completely
enough.
shocking your system. Yeah.
fair enough.
Sorry for
okay.
the kind of crass comparison, but
no, I
you
mean
need
it's
to
fair.
get the
That's
idea.
fair.
Some people might not be shocked by the latter option you gave.
This is true.
So-
So I guess smelling salts would be an alternative for them. You're right.
But we tried it, and the jar recommends like do not open near your nose.
So what's Josh do?
It says keep it like 12 feet, like not 12 feet, a foot away, like down here.
Put it across the room.
Open the cap. hurry
Everybody
up, or
within
run
that
away.
12-foot radius just like
Get your kid to open it for you.
goes Super Saiyan. Oh gosh,
Oh.
Levi would be going Super Saiyan over there. Ah!
Yeah, if he got his hands on it, he'd start running around the house with it. But also, I don't know if it would make him cry. Then
Oh,
it would
no.
just be the whole disaster.
True.
But we tried them, and holy crap, they are crazy. If you have a stuffy, runny nose, it'll go away for like 2 or 3 hours. So,
Runny
Also, if you
nose,
snort
not no
wasabi,
well, same thing.
Oh, have you ever seen that video? The girl who accidentally eats a wasabi and cries.
no, but that
This
sounds.
this 3 or 4 year old girl, and she
Oh,
like,
no.
eats some things, and then she grabs a wasabi, and everyone like kind of looks at her, and she goes, "Help!" and it's the funniest, saddest
Oh, that's
thing.
horrible.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like
That help
wasabi.
part
I just don't like the
is what
flavor of
Yeah.
it, though.
Fair.
So that's all I got. Not too much.
Speaking of flavor, what flavor was your past 3 weeks there, Nathan?
Oh, just working, then coming
Pineapple.
home and watching Doctor Who. I don't know. Do we do anything else? We're
Do
like
we do anything else? Like,
we're like 5, 10, 11 seasons in, 11 and a half. And there's still more to go.
I saw about 11 and a half minutes of the first episode, and that was about it. I watched the guy. There was some guy who had like his face was a canvas stretched everywhere, and I was like, "This is a little weird."
That's the second
I gave up.
episode, dummy.
Well,
was a
that's the
girl.
episode that I saw. Did I say the first episode or a episode? Either way,
Andrew,
it was
I think you haven't. I don't think you've
given it a fair chance.
Yeah,
Wow.
because this
just
is
call him out.
Doctor Who is just my favorite show.
He's calling you.
He can call me out as long as he takes me out first.
Oh.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Whether it's to dinner or to my grave, either one is accepted. Just don't let me know which one it is.
Exactly. That is the way to go about it.
Ooh, how about both? That'd be nuts.
All right, let me try to actually say something, because it's always, oh yeah, I did nothing. What about you guys? See, this is my problem, is if I actually were to start writing down interesting things that happen, then it might be different. But
wait, Josh, didn't you say you had questions for both of us? Do you
yeah,
have one for Nathan?
If you have
help him,
topics,
get
that might
started?
actually help.
Me?
Yeah. Didn't you say you had something to ask?
How's
Because
my
my-
new job?
There we go.
My experiences in my life, you know how people talk about like things going in one ear and out the other? Well, the things that I experience do that, and I can't
Nathan
think about
wakes
them
up
after they've happened.
And his
I don't
whole
have any
life
memories.
just goes.
Yeah.
His brain just treats it like those letters in his background. They just fly all over the
Like he's
place.
sitting on the toilet, watch everything happen in front of him.
How did you know I'm on the toilet?
A bit. We all are.
My job's good.
Sitting on a toilet.
It's pretty chill.
Sitting on a toilet.
I guess, I'm working another new job, and it's more consistent, just Monday to
It's a
Friday, like
new job.
similar time to my wife, which is nice, and we get off at similar times and kind of get up at the same time, so it's not someone like waking the other one up really, which is good, and it's closer to home, and okay, so imagine something like a welfare office, or the kind of place you go get like food stamps, like government assistance, that sort of thing. Imagine if you pulled up a desk and sat down and kind of just kept an eye on what's going
Watched
on.
everybody.
That's what I do.
Nathan gets paid to spy on people.
Sure, that's a way to look at it.
Secret agent.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting though. You have, and people coming in looking for help. So I do my best to help them out, because there's lots of older folks who come in who act like they've never seen a touchscreen before, and they're like, I don't know how to do this. So then I have to be like, okay, well, here, I can help you, and then I do that. So there's that. Because otherwise, if they didn't have a guard there, just the people behind the counters, which it's basically a wall, and there's glass partitions, and like a small hole where they can talk to each other from. So the only way the actual DHS workers can actually come out is to walk
don't call them out by their abbreviation.
all the way around through a door and then go out into the lobby. So me being out in the lobby, I can actually kind of help them out in some ways, which is good. But no, it's pretty chill.
What's a common thing you have to help somebody out with that like happens every day?
The only thing I ever really have to do is help them out with getting signed in on the kiosks, because the kiosks are basically iPads sitting on like stands, and they're
gosh.
where'd the keyboard?
I can see it now.
So because it's touchscreen, they just like older people just don't really seem to get that still. Which
is funny, because that's the first thing that they do when something's broken is they smack it. So they should be really used to touchscreens.
And you get
if you're listening, I love you.
Oh,
because now that you bring that up, she came to dinner, and She's sitting at the table and she goes, James, I need you to look at my phone. And of course, it's going to be something. And I'm sitting right next to Grandma. I'm like, don't ask me. That's fine. I didn't want to do it anyways. So I was like, Grandma, what's wrong with your phone? And she goes, every time I bring up the camera, all it wants to do is just take a picture of me.
Oh, goodness. Graham's probably got 1,000 selfies.
I love that
on our
thought.
phone.
So I picked the phone up, I unlocked it, turned the camera on, and sure enough, I'm looking right at myself. And I said, Grandma, what button do you take pictures with? And she's like, the big one in the middle. I said, if you look to the left of it, you see the one that has the bunch of arrows going in different ways? She goes, yeah. And I hit it once and boom, it switched. I said, that's all you got to do. You know what her answer was? I've hit that button 300,000 times and it don't work for me. How'd you get it to do it?
I love it.
I told her, I was like, Grandma,
you
got to press the button a little bit harder.
But yeah, you get every manner of people coming in there. Just people looking for assistance, whatever is going on in their lives. I don't know. Some people smell like they just took a shower and cat pee. Some people look homeless and are homeless. Some people look homeless and aren't homeless. Some people aren't homeless and look homeless. There's lots of homeless people, but you wouldn't expect who they are because it's just, you can't really tell. Because they don't all look like just like disheveled, hairy, dirty guys.
Beasts.
Yeah, beasts.
They're all guys?
No, there are homeless women in the world, Josh. Don't be disrespectful.
Well, you
so,
said guys, so just,
yeah, it's Women's Month, bro.
Dudes, okay?
Women
dudes.
can be homeless, too.
And they can be dudes, too, so homeless dudes coming in. I don't know, man. It's
I've
fun.
been waiting so long to do this, boys. But do you know what time it is? Oh, and I fudged up the horn.
Hey, guys, I got so much more to tell you.
Oh, no. Okay, well...
Did you hear the...
No, hold up.
I heard the horn.
Listen,
so
I don't... Josh, if you have more, you can add it.
We went to Pittsburgh, and I had reservations at this place called Carmela's Plates and Pints. And we had an Airbnb, and I did not want to drive through Pittsburgh. So I figured, let's use Uber for the first time.
Interesting.
So, like, my old job paid for an Uber once, and it was terrifying. The dude was, like, listening to
and Josh thought, let's do that again.
while he was driving. It was so uncomfortable. He was speeding in the rain, tailgating people. I did not want to be part of it again. But
oh no,
the ride in from the Airbnb, we got this little guy in this really nice car. It was like a hybrid electric, super quiet. And I love to talk to people. And I swear, it was real low, but he was listening to Christian music.
Interesting.
And he had it looked like a bookmark, but it was like a little thing he had hanging from the rear view mirror. And it said, God will provide a way.
There's nothing that says your witness, that shows your witness, like speeding and tailgating.
Exactly. Well, no,
that was
dude.
Very
Different
botched.
guy,
I totally got lost there. I missed. I thought this was the same dude.
Uber ever went.
Oh, this is your new guy. I see.
This is Saturday.
Yeah, the new.
So
I do agree with your point, though. That's a wonderful way to witness, if that were the case. Anyway,
I immediately looked at him. He does not speak good English at all. And I said, what church you go to? And it immediately led into this conversation to the point he was parked in the middle of Carson Street without the four ways on at a dead stop, giving this medical testimony because I asked him what church he goes to. And he's a refugee from this Burma country from it's to the left of Thailand.
From this Burma country, okay.
And then after we ate, we're walking down the street, and this lady is walking in the middle of the road on Carson Street. And this car is following her, honking the horn for a solid mile that the woman's walking down the street. All of a sudden, police lights come on, an ambulance shows up. The dude hit her.
Oh my gosh.
She wouldn't get out of the way.
Which dude?
So,
Not
guy
your
that
Uber
was honking
driver.
behind the
Nathan, your
This-
brain is somewhere else right now.
Yeah, this
You're
was-
combining everything.
we got out
that's
of the.
happening.
We got away from the Uber driver.
Okay, I don't think
ate
it was
dinner.
super clear that the person who was following or behind the lady who in the middle of the street was not your Uber driver.
We finished eating. After we got out of the Uber, went and had dinner, and then on to the next part of the night. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then that happened.
Okay.
They didn't rush off in the ambulance, so I think she was okay. They just stayed and like tended to her for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got another Uber,
Mm-hmm.
and it was this college student from India who I just had this full-blown conversation with. He's like, he was going to be a pilot, but then he changed to become a nurse. And he's like, I don't know anything about nursing, but I can tell you how a plane flies. And he's like, you're the last ride of the night and stuff. So we had a really cool conversation with him. Super cool dude. And then we leave the car, and my wife goes, I lost my phone.
Oh no.
So then I had to call
Oh, no.
Uber to call him, and he like brought the car back, and he's like, your phone's in the back. And we were like, oh, thank you. He goes, oh, no problem. So that
You go,
and then
college Uber guy. Good for
while
you.
the lady got hit by a car, we sat and talked to a homeless veteran, but he said he wasn't homeless. He just sits on the street with a sign to talk to people, and that was really good.
That's good.
Nice. Can I do it again, boys? Are
Yeah,
we
I'm
ready?
sorry, go ahead.
Hold
No,
on.
you're fine. I was just excited.
Secret
Burr, burr, burr.
Asian man.
It's backward in the camera, but
It showed right on mine, so you're good.
yeah.
Well, you probably
All right, so we are doing.
Gaming news.
We got Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield buried us. Immortals of Avion, dev says. Which is funny, because I've never heard of this game. So I guess that came out around the time Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield did. Not the best time to release your game. So there's a game called Immortals of Avion, or Avion. I actually don't know how it's pronounced. But, okay, so basically it's a game that came out. What's the developer? I'm trying to get the developer here. Yep. Yeah, but basically they came out around a bunch of big games and got lost in that noise, quote unquote, and so they basically did not get much in the way of traction, but they are still hopeful that the franchise can evolve. And I'm gonna actually Google this because this article is actually not super well written, in my opinion. So, Immortals of Avion. Excuse me. All right, so this is a game. Yes, it is. Published through, looks like Electronic Arts, EA. They're not great, but we'll not get into that right now. And developer is Ascendant Studios. There we go. I don't know why I was having trouble finding the developer. However, this is basically a game. I guess it's on Steam and is it also? Yeah, PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows. And it's a first-person shooter. It's like a role-playing first-person shooter game. That's just, that kind of genre. Came out last year, so August of 2023. And you probably haven't heard of it. And it's sad because it looks, at face value, kind of solid. Like, it actually looks really well made. I'll have to look into this after. I suggest you guys do too. Maybe they can get some love back from everything that was lost by being put out at the wrong time.
Sad.
Something like that. It's interesting, though. I don't know much about this, so whatever. But, it's always unfortunate whenever a smaller developer gets kind of overshadowed by bigger games. I mean, recently, there's straight up, there's Unshrouded, there's Pow World, and then now Helldivers, which came out, and there's 3 new big games. And then Lethal Company was before that, and I don't know, man. Crazy crap going on. All right. In Article 2. I don't care about your cookies. Helldivers 2 director says there's no need to compare it with Halo. Just let gamers enjoy both. I don't know why people are comparing it to Halo. I know that at one point there was some special kind of Halo game mode that was going to be very different from any other Halo game ever created, and the big developers said no because it was too different. And then Helldivers came out and made something similar, and now it's absolutely huge. And it could have been really big and helped Halo a lot, but the big developers said no because that's just how it goes. And not the developers. I'm saying like the guys on the top of the chain who own the company and crap like that who make these decisions. So
The guys who don't even know what a game station is.
right?
Yeah.
What even are these games? So basically, there's some people being out there trying to like put like rivalry between Helldivers and Halo for some reason. I don't know why. Problem is I've not played Helldivers yet. I've heard good things about it. This is also Helldivers 2, which is apparently in a different genre than the original they made. So it does matter that it is 2. But yeah, I guess I don't know why there's a rivalry there because they are very different games and they're made by very different people for different audiences. So, you know, there's that.
Nice.
I'm having a rough time. This gaming article's pulling it up and reading it for the first time while I'm.
Well, while you're
That's
doing
gone
that,
over
the
the
one
old
gaming news article that I can think of, did you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard by now, but I believe it was like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that Xbox has signed over some of the rights to their exclusives and now they're available on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch.
That's absurd.
It is.
Seriously?
And it was
That's like a big deal.
100% serious. You can go and buy, I think it's only 4 games right now, but they're going to eventually sell like the rights to like Halo and stuff, like bigger name titles.
That's
Right now,
insane.
the two that I know of are Hi-Fi Rush, which is a really cool game that I wanted to play, so I'm pretty pumped about that. And the other one was Sea of Thieves. That'll be available on PlayStation. And
I didn't even
Switch
know
now,
that
too.
wasn't on PlayStation, so that's pretty crazy. That's
I heard Skull and Bones
Wild.
is doing terrible.
Yeah, which is sad because I was looking forward to it. It looked pretty
is
cool.
that a
It was
DLC
like
or a second game?
It's a different game.
Completely different game.
But it's Sea
It's
of
kind of
Thieves?
like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but like way more into pirating.
So this is not a Sea of Thieves thing. Is it by the same developers?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's
I'm sorry.
just
That
a
was
similar
lumped into
game.
like the
Sea
same
of Thieves.
sentence, and that threw me off.
Well,
I
because
was
they're
not aware
comparing
of
it to
this.
Sea of Thieves,
I see.
and they're like
Of
Sea of
Thieves.
Thieves is better.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that was great for the third article, Andrew. I appreciate that. I have not heard about that, but that's good to know.
Yeah, I know they have plans on moving more of them over, and the main reason is because they, in the past like decade, Microsoft has not gotten the. I don't even know if they've broken even for console sales in the past like
Interesting.
5 to 10 years. So they're trying to make their games available on all platforms so that they can rake in more money.
I mean,
Because those people, they charge platform fees, which is why digital games are still expensive.
Yeah.
Because greedy bums.
greedy
But,
bums.
Yeah. If
Making
I'm
a mess
paying that
all over
much
the
money,
city.
get me a disc, bro. Call me
Mm.
old, I don't care. But anyways, brilliant segue to the next section of...
Which...
Nope. Oh, almost messed it up again.
The horn and the air horn look completely different.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know how
was
you're
on
having
the
this
wrong-
trouble here.
Well, I didn't look at it the first time, and like I got real excited and I jerked my mouse, so I went to the sad horn right underneath it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Horn.
So we played once again. What's the game called? The Wolf Among Us. Thank you. Episode 2.
Nathan's overall rating 0.5.
0.3 so far, but we'll see.
Ooh.
So yeah, and supposedly Andrew's already started on the third one, which is fine because we're the third episode. But
I'm
it's
usually
fine 'cause
behind
we're-
anyway.
Yeah, you are. And ideally we'll be continuing next week with the next episode rather than waiting 2 more weeks again like this one. So, but yeah, we played episode 2, and we'll kind of do you want to pull up the website you did last time where we did like a walkthrough, but maybe a little bit faster this time of kind of what happened? It'll especially help me this time because it's been like a week since I played it, since we were going to record last week, and it didn't work out.
Can do, my guy.
Gosh, I thought your shirt was off for a second. I was going to be mad.
No, it's still there.
I'm happy. Listen, that sounds weird out of context, but we'll start the podcast and half the time his shirt's off, and then we'll just have to like wait for him to put it on before we start.
Very true.
So I mean, it
Very
wasn't the
true.
craziest thought.
No, it's still there.
I like the look down, like you have to make sure. I appreciate that. But yeah, we played episode. Like I said, we played episode 2 of The Wolf Among Us, and some wild crap went down. We're gonna kind of walk through it here as Andrew kind of pulls up the article. But what do you think so far overall of the episode, Josh? I mean, I know you probably have lots of notes. So I mean, if you want me to start on my thoughts, that's fine too.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes.
Okay, that's not that crazy, but I didn't write notes, so my general thoughts.
It's sad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's deceiving in the beginning.
Very. Yeah, it was unexpected.
The whole time I'm like, that Snow White is fake. But then it proves to you that the other Snow White is actually the fake. So then it's kind of like it's sad, but you're relieved at the same time.
I mean, it's sad that someone, like, it wasn't like, I mean, someone did get killed, but it wasn't the actual, like, character you thought it was. So really, your friend is still kind of there that you got to know in the first episode, and then, you know. So
I mean, the whole thing's sad too, because like you gotta talk to the little kid that's sad. You gotta you gotta go and tell the sister, which is sad. You know, you gotta inspect the body, and everybody's upset about it, and they're all sad. So it's more of like nobody was really sad when the first chick died. But, like,
I mean, I was sad, but like you didn't really get much time to know her or anything.
In the game, nobody's
not going to.
All of a sudden,
the characters. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it was like sad to see, and especially because you just like spoke with this girl, and then she's dead. But you didn't really know much about her, but you like helped her from this guy who was beating her up and stuff, and then we get to the second thing that happens, which is, I mean, at the very end of that episode, and you know, good old Snow White beheaded. That's always a good time. And
that's the way.
You got to know throughout the episode.
1 ends, and that's nuts.
And then we begin this episode, and we don't really know. We're just trying to figure out what's going on now and why these beheadings are happening and stuff like that. And I think I'm a little bit worried, because I do think that this kind of nullifies your theory from last time that the thing around her neck had something to do with it. Her scarf.
No, it doesn't, and we'll
does
get
it not?
Into that,
okay, all right.
We'll get into that.
If you have some thoughts here, but like I thought,
I do,
because okay, fine, fair enough. Because I know that when you go to that certain club, the other girls there also have those. So I guess that's like a thing that they wear there or something like that. But that guy there was the worst, like the actual worst.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember his name, but
so
we'll go through it. Do you have that pulled up?
I do, yeah. My apologies for the delay, but yeah. So it pretty much opens up, and you just see the photo of Snow White sitting on this desk in some office.
Yeah,
and the episode is called "Smoke and Mirrors." But yeah, pretty much opens up with the revelation that Snow White's head was just like kind of chilling on the front porch of his apartment place, and you are in this scene. You're being interrogated, sort of. So there's this lady who's kind of questioning you, trying to see what's going on about the murder, and Big B's basically all like, "Hey man, like I'm trying to do my job. You're being a bum about this. Let me do what I need to do." And then all of a sudden her nose starts bleeding, and I was like, "Hold the phone. Like, what is going on? This is really weird," because either A, whoever like killed Snow White is about to come kill me, or B, this is a game about fairy tales and stuff. So I was trying to think of like, what character could this be? And I couldn't think of anybody. I had one person, but like I was wrong. For some reason, the only person I could think of was Bloody Mary, because she's like a fairy tale character. And
okay, interesting.
I was kind of thinking the two-way mirror might have like done something, because you know the whole like you gotta say her name so many times in the mirror or something. I don't know, but I was wrong.
They've had so many random like fairy tale characters you wouldn't even expect in it, so it's kind of, you never know.
True. So her nose starts bleeding, and like you see it cuts to the people behind the two-way mirror, and they're like falling asleep or passing out or something. This lady, same thing happens to her, and you're just like, hold the phone, bro. I am stuck in this chair in this building. And then here comes old snivelly looking Ichabod Crane, all measly and weaselly himself, and he's just like, hey, I got a magic spell that they'll forget everything in the last 24 hours.
Yep.
You need to come with me so we can figure out what's going on with Snow. And at first, I was just like, I don't know if he's coming to hurt me or if he's just that dude right now. And at that point, he was just that dude. He was like, I'm handling business. We're gonna make sure no one knows you were here or I was here. And so it just kind of shows you that like Ichabod might be this like kind of weaselly looking dude, but he's got some tricks up his sleeve. He's in charge for a reason right now. He's got a little bit of a backbone.
Trixie.
He is tricksy, which leads to kind of the first, I guess, choice you could say. So when you're in the car, he gives you a ride to get you back to the station where you guys work to try to do this interrogation of whoever you caught last episode. And I know what I chose to kind of be nice to him because, like, I know he's a D-bag and all, but I'm kind of thinking more along the lines of like, yeah, my big B Wolf is kind of trying to turn over a new leaf. He's trying to be a nice guy.
Yeah,
So,
I saw no
I
reason
think
to be like
Yeah.
unpleasant to him, and given the
Josh, were you mean
circumstances
to
and
him?
whatnot.
No, I was nice to him the whole time. Like,
Yeah,
what's his
same.
name? Bluebeard was like, let me rough him up. You don't know what you're doing. I was like, I gave him a cigarette. I gave him
Oh,
a
okay. So
drink.
we're still talking about in the car, but that's kind of what happens next.
Yeah,
So
in the car. But yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
because we
No,
have a
you're right.
conversation with him, and you really get options to be like,
No, I was nice to him because I was saying stuff to Ichabod where it was like, oh, he'll remember that. Like, because you were like sympathizing.
yeah,
You were like sad, talking like, Snow White wanted to do better for the community,
Yeah,
and you like started telling him her plans, and like he kind of like looked over and was like surprised, and he like started feeling bad, and like it was almost like a heart to heart, but like you were just telling your feelings for Snow because Big B had feelings for Snow.
and
Oh, yeah,
I
for
think that scene also made it unless he's just straight up acting. I think that scene made it obvious that the first impressions we get in the game are really bad because he's like mad and being a jerk. But I think it shows that he didn't just like hate Snow White. It wasn't just like,
True.
I mean, he seemed like he was legitimately shaken up by it and everything. At least that's the way I took it. But after that, I mean, in the car, you are driving to the station to meet with. Well, for you, it's Tweedledee,
I believe.
Tweedledee, and for me, because I mistakenly chose the woodsman, it was him. Which I'm more okay with my decision after this episode because I still think that it leads to productive things. But I did my best to get him out of it because I knew he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But I was still.
That was that was what's weird.
Bluebeard's the worst.
He kind of is. But it was kind of I'm realizing that they like. Obviously, it's an underground kind of community for all of them because they're not supposed to be there. But it's crazy because I'm realizing. So I went back. Unfortunately, my game file corrupted, which is kind of why we had to postpone another week.
Yeah.
So I went through and I didn't have a save file, so I had to play Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 again. Well, most of Chapter 2 again because I didn't get through too much of it. But the apartments is where like all of this takes place, and it's so weird.
Yeah.
Because that interrogation is in the basement of the apartment.
Yeah.
Crane's office and Big B's office is in the apartments. Big B's apartment is in the apartments, and it's like this place is huge, even though it doesn't look like it apparently.
The building might have a glamour.
You know what? That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. That's probably what it is.
Like if all these people can have these glamours, like a troll,
if that's possible,
or what are they called, or can look like someone else.
Which I mean, and we do learn later about glamours that how they're made and stuff. So that's definitely possible.
So is there precedent for something a non-living object being able to have a glamour applied to them? Yet?
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah, they might not
that we're
go by
aware
the
of
same rules, but no. I guess not that we're aware of, but it's very safe to
I feel
assume
like,
that.
yeah, I
anything's
guess.
possible
'Cause
if
magic
Ichabod
can-
was able to get that spell that memory wiped them and caused their nose to bleed.
For sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Not to
And that
mention,
they
there's
stayed with
already
them.
objects in this, in this episode that like they weren't stated to be glamored, but like they were what's the word I'm looking for? There were objects that were like you had to figure like kind of solve a certain puzzle and whatnot to see that it wasn't what it looked like. So I really wouldn't be surprised if
fair
it was
enough.
a glamour.
No, that makes sense.
But yeah,
Anyway.
no actual proof. You're right.
Yeah, but anyway, basically, guys, we're with Ichabod after getting questioned, and then we end up going to where the person you chose in the last episode to take to the station or whatnot. Well, what's funny is basically we're going there to interrogate him. But what's funny is apparently last episode at the very end, when you were taking him away from the bar, and then you found Snow White's head, you left him tied up to the post, and you just kind of didn't go back for him after, which I guess is understandable because you're pretty messed up after what you just experienced.
Well, I
but
don't think he really had the chance, because as soon as that scene ends in episode 1, he's looking over the shoulders of the police officers at the head on the ground. And then the beginning of episode 2, he's at the police station being interrogated.
Is it? I thought it was
Yeah, that's a
daytime
good
at that
point.
point, though. And it was nighttime when he finds it. So it's like the next day.
Yeah, but they wouldn't wait 12 hours to interrogate him. They'd at least put him in a holding cell.
Especially
when
with
he
him
freaks
Okay,
out.
fair enough.
breaking through the
I just
scene.
think it's amusing that he didn't mention the fact that he left him there, but whatever. So they
Well,
find him
Ichabod
chained up to a pole,
Ichabod
pretty
brought it
like a
up.
light pole, pretty close to there, and then Ichabod tells him, we found him, and Bluebeard's been in there beating him up, and Ichabod's pretty mad at Bluebeard for doing that because he's like, "You're not supposed to be doing this. Like, we're trying to get information. We're not trying to torture them." And Bluebeard's just like, he didn't do that, but that's how I saw it. And so you kind of step in, and it seems like you can go like multiple ways in this scene.
Oh yeah.
I was very, very like, I'm taking over. This is mine. Step away. Especially because like I am 99.99% certain he had nothing to do with the beheadings. The Woodsman. Because I have the Woodsman.
Mhm.
Andrew has a different situation here. And this is interesting because I feel like us talking about this is going to give each other spoilers in a way, who chose the other option. But, whatever. That's the whole intention of this podcast, is to talk about our experiences. So, like, I'm fine with it.
Mhm.
But basically, we take over, and I'm talking to the Woodsman, and I'm being, like, in general, the whole scene, he's, like, trying to get the Woodsman to talk. And he's not, like, being super gentle about it, but he's also not, like, beating him up. He's just like, I know you know something. I need you to tell me. But he has, like, his stuff that was confiscated, like a cigar, like a bottle of alcohol or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. And something else. I think it were, like, 3 items that were confiscated, and they're, like, on the other side of the room.
Did he potentially have like a wad of cash with him?
No.
Okay, because mine did. But
Josh,
I was
which
curious
did
about
you
that.
pick again?
I took the Woodsman.
Okay, you had the Woodsman too, so it was just Andrew who had Tweedledum. Tweedledee, whoever you have.
So what kind of so obviously the interrogation was mainly about Snow White, but did he, because he was still kind of at that point framed for Faith's murder, did you guys was that part of your interrogation at all? Or was it just focusing on Snow?
What we learned from the Woodsman is that he was seeing the bartender's sister.
Yeah.
And I guess Faith swapped out for that night or something, and that's why they were arguing at the house. And the bartender's sister, I can't remember her name, but he brought up the point, sometimes if he didn't have the money to pay her for the night, that she'd comp him or let him go. And they were arguing because I guess he didn't have the money and he owed Faith, even though Faith switched out with her. And that's why when you showed up that they were fighting about.
Which that's another thing that I noticed when I had to replay the first episode was It's definitely seems like this game is all about the little details, because I thought it was kind of going to be a throwaway line in the first episode when the bartender, or no, it was
Holly is the
Gren,
bartender.
because he talks to he Gren mentions to Holly, or mentions to the character that no one gives a crap about Holly's sister when she, and she's
Yeah.
been missing for a few days or something, and then you find out eventually,
that was part of the story, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Because at
which
that time
was
you have
a
no
neat
clue.
little callback. Yeah,
Like there's no
yeah.
reason to
They-
suspect
They
that she has
brought that
anything to
up
do with it.
again when you talk to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the thing is, in this story, Holly, the bartender, is, what is it, an ogre? Or is it a
troll.
troll? Okay, a troll. Thank you. But like big old warty, scary troll. I mean, to them, I'm sure they're beautiful. But her sister also was a troll, but they glamour to look like people. So.
Mm-hmm. Which, quick sidebar: if the woodsman was planning on robbing the original person, Holly's sister, he could have been in for a rude awakening, because I don't know how he would have fared against a troll. That would have been nuts.
But the woodsman
I don't know if he would.
Like,
He's the woodsman. He's a pretty bad
Yeah.
jack dude, but he had trouble with the big bad wolf, which I don't know. We don't know how tough he is yet, I guess, but
yeah.
And the woodsman
I would
did
think a
take an axe
troll.
to the head and live.
He did, but I feel like a fight with a troll might have been a little bit more difficult than a fight with a,
Yeah.
20-year-old girl.
There you go. That's the wow. All right, I never would have expected someone to have that take, but
Well,
very.
The wolf in the woodsman lasted pretty long.
Yeah, and we
But
can
the
talk
fight
about how
between the
awesome
wolf
Big
and
B
that
is later,
White
but yeah.
dude, the dude
Yeah.
got his arm ripped off pretty.
yeah, you
early
did that.
on in
You
the
did that.
fight.
We didn't do that.
You did that, which
insane.
I
I have
am.
so much to tell you about that.
Listen, we'll talk about it later, but all I'm going to
Insane.
say is I feel like that is going to have a lot of ramifications.
I feel like it's
going to
have to.
10 minutes of the next episode that I
I don't
played.
think it is.
Anyway,
Because there's stuff that happens.
so you go through that whole scene, you find out as much information as you can, and I'm interested in hearing about Andrew's experience with Tweedledee instead of the woodsman, and see what he learned from that. But pretty much, at least the way I played it, I was kind to the woodsman, like understanding
Yeah, it was
that, like, I knew he knew something. It was very obvious he knew something. There was something going on, but I didn't think it had to do with faith. And then we find out all about, like, the Holly's sister and whatnot. So we do learn that information, but and Bluebeard gets real mad at one point because you're not, like, just being a terrible person to the woodsman. I assume also I don't know if you handled it differently because it was Tweedledee. It was just like this freaky gangster, but I mean, if you want to talk about kind of how that went for you.
Yeah, so for me, I treated him the same way. I didn't, like, beat him up at all, which is kind of what caused Bluebeard to freak out and kind of get in a scuffle with me.
We need violence.
But he was definitely more. He kind of had, like, that smart alecky, like, I have one up on you. You can't, you shouldn't be doing this to me because I'm just a normal citizen. Blah blah blah. You have no proof, kind of thing. But I thought about beating the mess out of him a couple times, especially because, like, he's trying to get under your skin actively. He's like, Snow White is a whore, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, dog, I want to punch you.
Wow.
But, like, the first time I was nice to him, it, like, got him to confess something. So I was like, well, let me just stick along this path. So yeah, he does kind of the same thing. He just says that he he can't talk about his employer, blah blah blah, but he kind of drops hints who his employer is and the things that he was trying to do. He knows that there's something up with Holly's sister, but he doesn't really know exactly what it is. He just knows. You get the inkling that he knows why she's missing too.
Okay.
And at that point, once you kind of go through his belongings, he had a cigar, and so I gave him the option to, like, I lit the cigar and gave it to him, and all he does is he just blows the smoke in my face like a bum. And there was a wad of cash, which I could have stolen, which I did not. I should have. I like money. And he also had a bottle of alcohol.
Okay,
he just
so
kind of used all those things to kind of get nice with him, and yeah.
Did the
Same
alcohol
deal.
work?
He just drank it.
Okay,
He
well, because
didn't-
with the
he
woodsman,
wa-
like, I'm sorry,
Yeah, the woodsman, you lit a cigarette, and
and
he's like,
he thanks you.
Big me.
Yeah, he thanks
And then
you,
you give
and
him
then
alcohol because he's like,
you
I'm
give him like
thirsty, and
he's like, yeah,
thank
and
you again.
yeah, he's just
He
like.
was very kind.
But really, before this,
Oh,
like,
right.
you've already had some, like, background. The last thing that happened with you and this guy that you're just met, Tweedledee, is that his brother shows up and beats you in the back of the head and they run away. There's, like, a serious, like, there's an active, like, problem going on there. Well,
Yeah.
with
and
the woodsman,
that was the last
you
thing.
have, like, a real
That was the
history.
last- go ahead.
I'm sorry,
Mhm.
I'll finish this. You just have a real history
You're good.
together for a very long time, obviously, and I know a lot of it was bad, but both of you appear to be trying to get on a better path. And when you speak with the woodsman in the bar before Tweedledee shows up in the bar in the last episode, he's just like, I'm done fighting with you. And then I mean, at least I agreed. He was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And you try to have a real conversation with the dude, and he seems like, when he's not like drunk and angry, he seems like a perfectly fine enough dude. And so it fits so much better in this scene where you're just being nice to him, but trying to get information because he knows something, and he is accepting your kindness more than it sounds like Tweedledee does, which makes sense to me. I think it's interesting that the way that they kind of switch it around a bit, because they're very different situations.
And
I'm curious how
too.
different it's going to change the story depending on like what we chose here.
I wish you would have
With who we
taken that
brought
money,
in.
Andrew.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to, especially with what happens later. But
Yeah,
that's
that's
kind of
why
the catalyst.
We never had that option.
That's kind of the catalyst of how Bluebeard starts like beating up Bigby, is just because Tweedledee mentions something. He slips up and says something about his brother, and then Ichabod Crane is like, "Oh crap, his brother's still just running around. Like, we need to go get him." And then Bluebeard's kind of like, "Hey man, like this is all your fault. If we would have interrogated him properly, we'd have time to actually avenge Snow White. He killed one of our own." Blah blah blah.
See, if
And
I
he
think
gets
I
all
would have had
pissed.
Tweedledee or whoever it was, I think I might have been a little tougher, like
I think I would have too.
been rougher in the beginning through the whole thing than I was with the woodsman. Because at this point, like when you were at the bar with the woodsman, he's like, "Listen, when I caught you with Little Red Riding Hood, like I was planning on robbing her, and I only saved her because I wanted to see if I'd get a paycheck,
A
off of it."
reward, yeah.
Yeah, and so like you had that like honest conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree.
And then of course the scene ends with the whole kind of confrontation with Bluebeard, and you get in a little scuffle, and then to kind of end the whole scene, the door opens up and you see that familiar face, and it was Snow White, and you find out that she's alive.
And
Or
she
at
just
least
walks
she
in like,
seems to
"Hi
be alive.
guys."
Yeah.
Not
she's
not
like,
not like
"Why are
that,
you
but like it was just like
feeding
to her there was nothing weird, and to
Yeah.
Bigby's like he's seen a ghost. So
Yeah, it was
that was a
absolutely
wild
nuts.
moment. I was not expecting that in the slightest. I like had a
Especially
feeling
that early.
No, yeah, I thought maybe we'd find out later that maybe Faith and Snow White, or one of them at least, somehow were alive and there was something weird magically going on, whatever. But just immediately the next episode, she's just like, "Hey guys, I'm here. What's going on?"
Yeah.
So, yeah. So basically, yeah, Snow White is here. And very soon after you find out, what's the next scene? I mean, you have a conversation with Snow, and
Yeah,
I
so
kind of gave her a
immediately
little bit. Yeah, it was like in the apartments, right?
Yeah, they were leaving what I'm assuming
yeah.
to be is the basement where
Yeah.
they held all that. And they're just kind of going through the Fabletown offices
Yeah.
/ the apartment complex. And, she's like, "You shouldn't have been abusing a prisoner like that." And based on whatever you did, you do have the option to say, "I wasn't abusing a prisoner," or, you could just ask her if she's okay or what happened.
And like, basically I spoke with her and I was just like, I mean, the person, I mean, I'm sure Bigby's really thrown off, but then like you yourself, like I was just trying to figure out what was going on. And so like, I remember I asked something along the lines of like how she's doing, like, and there was something that led to her, or like you were going somewhere and you didn't want her to go with you because of what happened, and she was kind of annoyed because she was like, "I can take care of myself," or whatever. But so she ends up going with you, which I think is when you go to take a look at the body, right? That's like what happens next.
I think before that is when you talk with Toad Jr., I believe.
Oh no,
Oh,
you have the option.
oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah, you
think
go
you have
back
the
into
option to
the
choose which
actual
one you do.
office. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can either, I'm assuming if you talk to her first, you'll do that first, and then
Yeah.
you can talk to TJ.
And
But I
then,
talked to Toad Jr. first.
but you're going to talk to Toad Jr. to find out, like, kind of like what he knows, because like, he has some information.
Mhm.
He like saw, he was out and he saw something or heard something or whatever. And so you're going to kind of interrogate him, but he's just like a little kid. And she's like, Bigby, I need you to be nice to him. I need you to be gentle. I need you to not be the big bad wolf for a second.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
so,
what I said, because I think one of the options, she's like, I need you to be more, and I was like, be less of something, and I was like, myself. I don't have to be myself. I get it.
Yeah. Which I think
yeah.
went really well. For me at least, that scene. I tried to be as like looking for information, but not overwhelming the kid.
Same. I tried to. I was really nice to him, but there was one point I had to kind of put my foot down because I was like, I need this information. And he was, and old Papa, old Big Toad was kind of saying something to him, and I was like, hey, listen, this is an exception. You're gonna let him off the hook this time.
Yes,
And
but
then
no,
Toad
paw.
Jr.
You put
was,
your
like,
paw
super
down,
excited.
not your foot.
Yeah, put the paw down.
I wasn't talking about his pawpaw.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty much, well, he kind of like, oh, that was it. He was out. It was like dark. It was late or something like that. And he was out. He went swimming, but he was supposed to, like, his dad told him, if you're out and you hear something, you go underwater, you stay underwater because you're not supposed to be seen because they don't have a glamour. So they look like fables. And that the whole point is to not be seen. So turns out kid comes out of the water and he's like listening and like not hiding, and his dad gets kind of mad at him and whatnot, but
yeah, and that's whenever, I think that's technically when Snow finds out officially that like somebody else was impersonating her. Like she it seemed like she knew about it, but that was kind of the turning point where it was confirmed that somebody was impersonating her for a specific reason, and you don't know why. So at that point, you get
I
after the
investigated the
interrogation.
body and I talked to Junior last.
Interesting. Okay. I think mine was talking to Toad Jr. first. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, mine was too. Which I'll make an addendum because in the first episode we played, I realized I accidentally lied to you guys. The reason why I was able to save Prince Lawrence from dying is because I did go there first.
Yeah,
I went to Toad's house first. Yeah, I went to Toad's house first thinking that's what I did, and I was like, oh, he died this time. So I was like, crap, I have to play this episode again for a third time because I didn't make the right choice this time. I was dumb. So
I thought last time you told us you went to Lawrence's first.
I did. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought I said I went to Toad's. That's what I was confused.
No, I think you told us because I remember one of us. I didn't. One of you two went to Lawrence's first, and he didn't. He wasn't killed, or maybe that didn't happen.
I went to Toad first.
No, I think maybe we all said we went to Toad first.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But afterward, we found out that Lawrence survives if you don't go to Toad's first. But I don't think we actually. Okay, none of us did it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So thanks for lying to us.
And that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I didn't realize I kind of lied. I hopped on the hype train of what everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
But so then I went back, saved Lawrence again because that's what I originally did, and I didn't want to confuse anything. But anyway, so after that, at least at that point, after you kind of figure out what's going on, you can talk to the mirror again for a little bit and just kind of try to see what Toad was watching.
I actually didn't do that. I should have thought to do that. Yeah.
The mirror didn't help you anyway.
Oh, great.
And then you do have the option to see where Tweedledum is, and he just shows him in some car driving somewhere. He's not very helpful.
That doesn't happen with us.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And you can ask the mirror directly, like who the killer is, and he's just like,
my lips are sealed.
Like, wow, cool. Yeah, right. Gotta love that phrase. But that's what happens there. Josh, does anything different happen since you went to the other place first?
To see the body?
Yeah.
Well, you said she kind of found out someone was being an imposter, talking to him, but you
Yeah.
find that out seeing the body, and you
That's
pretty
true.
much get all your questions answered doing that, and then the body like I don't know if it was an accident or the glamour wore off, but it turns back into troll while on the table.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, what the heck? And then you see like a whole bunch of like clues and stuff, and it's like the perfume that Snow White wears.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when you were there, did you still find the clues of the glamour being kind of faulty, or was it still like a
Yeah,
perfectly
because
normal
Yeah.
replica? Okay.
the pin on the chest was
Yeah.
there. And I think the tattoo. I don't know if the tattoo was there or not.
Weren't there like marks
yeah,
on her
like-
arms too? Yeah, like
Yeah,
needle.
there were marks
That's
on her
Legs,
arms and
legs.
That's
legs.
the
Yeah.
black market glamour.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's
cool.
something that they think that's how you found out about the witches, because they were like something that the 13th floor wanted to
Mhm.
prove.
Yeah,
Yeah. That makes sense. I remember that.
exactly.
But yeah,
But, yeah, so
and Snow White was
same
real
thing
freaked out
happens-
about seeing her body laying on
Oh,
the
yeah.
table in front of her. And then it became a
that'd be
troll,
weird.
and then it made more sense to her.
Yeah. And then, of course, Big B's looking at her. He's like, "Can I unbutton your blouse? Let me do it."
He was
Yeah,
like,
that would have been really weird.
Hey, I mean,
seeing
he
your
at
own
least
body.
asked her
Yeah.
permission. He was like, I know this is
I mean, you
uncomfortable.
don't have to, which would have been interesting if he just starts like undressing her in front of her, and she'd be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, hold the phone, bro." That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, did anything opposite of that happen when you talked to Toad Jr., Josh? Like, did that scene play out any differently?
I was very kind with him, and like there was a part where like you asked him a question, and he was getting real nervous, and like the dad started going off on the son,
Mhm.
and then I was like, shut up and leave him alone, and like the son kind of like thanked you for like sticking up for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it wasn't much. I mean, you don't really learn. That whole conversation was basically there was people that dropped her off a bridge or something with cinder blocks tied to her feet, and he heard people laughing. I mean, there's not much that comes from that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. And then, we would have had the opposite. So at this point, we would have went to the witching well and found the body and everything. But after that, you end up going back to the Trip Trap, so the bar, and you see the usual gang and Jack, who I believe is Jack from Jack and Jill, if that's the fable I'm thinking.
I think
he is.
so. I think so too.
And he's just like this charismatic nitwit who just like wants to push everyone's buttons, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really decides to get under Big B's skin as much as he can try to.
Indeed.
So they're just kind of talking about all of his failings as sheriff, and you have the choice to either throw him out of the bar or just kind of let him keep talking. I wanted to see what he had to say because he seems like the guy who, if you just let him talk, he's going to incriminate himself.
He
so
really
I just let him
does.
talk and didn't throw him out. I don't know what you guys did.
No, I was nice the whole time. Before we keep going further, two of my notes. When you first start episode 2, it plays a recap of the last episode. It
Yeah.
really shows you a bunch of the choices that you made.
Mhm.
Like the person that you captured, and stuff.
Mhm.
And it shows the arm ripped off of the dude. So in all scenes involving him, he's now missing an arm
Not for me.
and everything.
Not for us normal people who
So
don't like killing.
I like how they're doing that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like he really hates you at this point. Then, like he's got to be really mad at you, at your Big B anyway.
No, he kind of sticks up for you at some point because, like, I kept letting that dude talk, and he just kept running his mouth, and eventually, I don't know what. His
Yeah,
name
he
is,
gets
but
mad
he's
at
like,
Jack, too.
Shut up and leave.
He's
Yeah,
like-
he does.
But I don't know if he's really sticking up for you there. He's just, Jack's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine.
But yeah.
And so yeah, at that point, you kind
You
of have
speak
to
with
deliver
Holly.
the news.
Yeah.
To
Well,
Holly
it doesn't
that,
it give
her
you an
sister
option
died.
not to? Wasn't one of the options to not tell her?
I believe so.
I
mean,
didn't do
did.
that because I
told her,
was like, I did it as nicely as I could, but I told her because she needs to know.
Same. I agree.
But
That's what I did. Josh, did you tell her?
Yeah, Jack wouldn't shut up, and like he kept saying stuff, and I was like, I don't know how else to bring it up, so I was like, Holly, that's why we're actually here. And then she kind of like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks.
After talking to Holly a little bit, she does say, reveal that she used to work at the Pudding and Pie, I think is what it's called.
Oh, Holly says she used to?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was because once you tell her about that and you kind of reveal that
it was her sister.
I
and then
revealed
she talks
anyways
about...
that I revealed that her sister was glamoured to look like Snow White, and that's when she puts the pieces together and she's like, yeah, she works at this club and they keep her under the owner keeps her under her thumb by charging her a bunch of money to stay there and stuff and get clients, blah blah blah. And at that point, another big decision is made on whether or not you decide whether you'll give Holly her sister's body to have her own burial, or
I also
you can
told
either
her who
choose.
Holly was seeing. She didn't know that Holly was seeing the Woodsman.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't have that choice. I didn't realize that. I wouldn't have known that, I don't think.
I don't remember that. I don't think I told her.
I don't think you would have known either because we found that out because the Woodsman brought it up.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't think I had that option, or if I did, I don't remember it. I don't know what happened there. I don't think I told her that though.
Wow.
But
can we also talk about that if you examine the cigarette machine, the cigarette brand is Huff and Puff, and I find it hilarious since you're the big bad wolf.
I saw that too. I totally forgot about that. Oh, that's great.
Yep. But yeah, so like you come to a big choice where you have to decide whether you're going to keep her body, you'll check to see if she can get the body with Crane, or you're just going to straight up tell her that you'll give her the body.
Yeah, I told her it's evidence.
Oh, okay. I
said it's evidence in a case.
You can have it. I don't care.
I did not say that.
I mean, I know that I'm trying to be like a better person, but at the same time, there's certain things you have to follow. And in my mind, I was like, I'm still kind of like gotta follow the law here. And like, I mean, ideally she can have her body, but like not yet. Like there's an active case going on about like who killed this person.
No, she talked about how I wanted good favor with her, especially because ripping the dude's arm off.
Yeah.
And I said she could have it because we got all the evidence we really needed from it, and Snow White.
That's what I thought too.
And
we already examined it and everything.
Like, she like recognized like you did something good. Like she won't forget it.
Yeah. Plus, they've kind of made a point from episode 1 up to here that all the people that aren't in the fancy apartment complex with all the like higher class fables who are like royalty, they all kind of feel neglected, and I was like, I have to figure out a way to earn their trust. I feel like I'm going to need to earn their trust, and I thought this was a good first stepping stone. So yeah, I was just like, you can have it, we've already examined it, whatever. In
the moment I didn't feel like that was my call to do, but maybe I could have, and maybe I just thought too much into
what
it.
If I had a boss that I liked a little more, I might have felt your way, but I didn't like Ichabod Crane was kind of a piece of garbage before that too. So
I'm not a huge fan of Crane either, but
yeah,
fair enough, I guess. Yeah.
So at this point, you go to the club and you find out, that. Well, you don't find out, but they give you this whole spiel about the guy who runs the place, and it didn't click until I think it was one of the tattoos that he had. But it didn't click that this was Georgie Porgie.
I don't
know who that is.
Know who that is?
Georgie I'll send you
Google.
Yeah. He was...
That makes sense, though. I mean, most of the characters in these are fables, so Georgie Porgie.
Yeah,
popular English nursery rhyme.
I feel like, and that was the nursery rhyme. It's like Georgie Porgie, pudding pie, and like so the girls fact that he had a club called Pudding
when
Pie,
the boys came out to play. Georgie Porgie ran away. All right, cool.
But So he's the owner of this like underground illicit club, and he's auditioning for someone to be there, and it's all weird and kind of like, why are you still doing this?
I appreciate him being Georgie Porgie now, given the whole situation and what he runs. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And so at that point, let me get back here. So at that point, you like try to talk to him, and he's kind of giving you the cold shoulder. He's not gonna reveal anything. He kind of stands up, and you can decide whether you want to like, you can decide whether you want to show him some evidence that like he's hiding something, or you can decide to kind of get in a little altercation with him. I decided to show him the glamour box, the little like thing that Lily had, that had like the hair and whatnot in it. And so he kind of clammed up after that, and he stood up to like kind of what's the word, instigate me. He's like, come on, hit me, we know you want to, you're the big bad wolf, show us who you really are, yada yada, that old song and dance that keeps playing.
I think I showed him the picture of Snow White, but like they had but he pretty much did the same thing, but I didn't attack him, but I basically ended up walking around his entire thing and threatening his stuff to try to get him to talk. Which was wild.
I wanted to be so nice and was like, nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Yep.
Did you punch him at first?
No, I didn't touch him, touch anything.
No, I didn't.
Left him alone. But eventually, like, I knew there was something he wasn't saying. And he got up to the sign with the wooden bat. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I just want to get this over with. And so I started smashing the sign.
I knocked over the barrel. It goes to like a barrel on the ground, and there's like a barrel behind the cashier. They're like behind the bar, I think, and there was a safe underneath of it.
Yep. But the key.
How do you find out if you don't knock it over?
Because he just looks down at it. I left everything alone, but you find the key for the safe on the DJ booth when you knock it over.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even knock the DJ booth over. I didn't hit or break anything.
Yeah, as soon as you break the sign, he goes in. The very next thing is the DJ booth.
Interesting.
Well, if you don't break anything, he still just kind of shows you, because you can choose not to break the DJ booth, which is what I did, and you just kind of still threaten to do it, and he's like, hold on, I'll just give you the key.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So he gives you the key.
I left most of his stuff okay.
I'm still trying to figure out, though. I feel like I know who it is, but I can't put my finger on it. So he had the like security guy who kind of leaked his secret about the book that you were looking for, and his name was Hans, but I can't figure out who.
I don't know who Hans is either, and I remember that name, and I don't know.
It rings a bell, yeah, but I can't figure out.
I could Google it right now.
You probably could. I don't know who he's supposed to be. Hans.
Interesting.
I don't know. But yeah, so
Clever Hans, or it's a German fairy tale. German Der Gescheite Hans is a fairy tale collected by the Brothers Grimm about a boy who cuts off there. But I guess that's not a super well-known one, but it was a Brothers Grimm thing, I guess.
Well, then
that's
maybe
cool.
I'm crazy.
I don't know if I've actually heard of it, though.
I don't know that. Yeah, me neither. Maybe I'm just paranoid because I'm like, everybody hears a fairy tale and I gotta know who they are.
Hansel and Gretel, Hans.
That's who I thought it was. I couldn't remember, but I doubt it.
I don't know if it was him. You would expect that there would be some connection of two people of Hansel and Gretel if they show up in the story, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you open up the safe with the key, however you get it. You find out that Lily was with a Mr. Smith. Of course, it's a fake name. And you look through the book, you realize that there's like a room number somewhere, and you're trying to figure out what in the world to do with that information.
Yeah.
And while Georgie's kind of talking to you, saying, "Oh, I'm going to call your boss and file a complaint," you see the worker who was auditioning for the role, or interviewing, or however you want to say it. So you see her like kind of hiding in a room in the back, and you just nonchalantly, while Georgie Porgie's filing a complaint with you to the offices, you just walk back there and start examining the room. You find a couple interesting things if you look around.
Yeah.
You obviously find Faith's locker and a note to Faith that really scarily enough, Lily was like taking her shift for the night, which is how Lily ended up dying, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You find a couple of Faith's belongings and Lily's belongings, and just kind of put them back. You realize, well, you don't realize. She tells you, the person who was interviewing kind of tells you, I know you're trying to figure out who I am. My name's Narissa now, but people used to know me as the Little Mermaid. I was like, yeah, another fairy tale that I know. Let's go. And Narissa is an interesting name. To me, that definitely sounds mermaidy. I don't know if Narissa has any
No, that's
weight
fair.
to that, but yeah,
But
definitely sounds like a mermaid name.
I don't know if there's a real connection there or if it just sounds like it, but I definitely didn't pick up on it until she said.
Right.
I remember asking her if her legs were a glamour.
Yeah, me too. She was like, nope, they're real. I paid a lot for them. And then, of course, you start kind of asking her questions to try to figure out what's going on. And you ask her directly at one point, something about the book, whether it was the room number. I think you could have asked who the person was that Lily saw that night. And that's what I asked I believe was who Mr. Smith was. And she said that dang phrase again, the whole "my lips are sealed" thing. And I was like, this hobo is also wearing a bonnet. This can't be a coincidence. This little ribbon over here is definitely
bonnet.
The actual the ribbon. I said bonnet. I don't know. My bad. But yeah, this little hobo is wearing a ribbon as well, and they're saying the same thing. So I'm thinking it's got a connection. And so Crackpot theory kept going strong after episode 2. But you kind of steer the conversation into the direction that you want it to go, which is, trying to figure out what that number is and whatnot. Narissa eventually tells you, she's like, hey, my lips are sealed. On a completely unrelated note, would you like to schedule an appointment with me and maybe I can help you get what you want? Kind of deal. So I just kind of follow along. I didn't ask a stupid question. I was just like, yep, sure, I'll make an appointment. I'm not dumb. So you make the appointment. You have the option to pay her, give her all your money, or say I don't have it. I tried to pay her just to see what would happen, but I was broke as a joke.
We paid for something.
Yeah,
we gave Faith money.
Exactly.
That was the thing I was wanting to know, if what would have happened if you would have taken Tweedledee or whatever, if you would have stolen his money, how the paying her would have...
Yeah, which I think it would have been the same, honestly, because whenever you tell her you don't have it, she talks to Georgie anyways, and you still gets what you need.
She takes her own money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Which, interestingly enough, I noticed if you look at the money in the safe that's there, it's the $58 that you gave Faith whenever she died. That's what's in that little locker.
Because
how much money's in it?
She had to get her...
I did not
She had to
notice
give
that.
it to him.
Yeah.
And if you would have taken the money from Tweedledee, it was like a decent bit of money. It was like a couple $100. It would have been a nice little payday. Probably
so you'd have just been
enough
Robin Hood there, because Tweedledee shouldn't have that money.
I know, I should have, but I was like, oh, it ain't my money.
You're like, I'm gonna do the right thing, even though it could make bad things happen. I don't know.
Yeah, but so you get the key that she has to a different room number, but at least get you in the building to what's called the Open Arms Hotel.
Yeah.
And you start to go there, and it's a really sketchy looking hotel.
You're in the lobby, and you see the person behind the desk, and the thing's kind of pulled down, so you just see that someone's there.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh.
Not necessarily, because you have the option to go to the front desk, or you can just walk upstairs, because you do have the key.
What did you do?
I forgot that it does give you that option.
I definitely still talk to the desk, but yeah.
And,
which I'm glad I did, because, yeah.
Guess who it was?
It was...
Beauty and the Beast. Minus the Beast.
Yeah, minus the Beast currently. And so
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, don't get it wrong. I'm just moonlighting here. I need money. Things are terrible."
Said
And
And she's
every
just about.
woman ever.
And then she was just like, yeah, this is what I've been doing, blah blah blah. You know, still please don't tell Beast. He's very prideful and couldn't handle like the thought that I have to do extra work on the side, and especially in something sketchy like this, blah blah blah. But then you end up telling her what's going on, that you need to investigate, or I don't remember exactly what you said to her. But
Yeah.
she goes upstairs with you, and it gives you an option of like checking all like the rooms, like to listen or to like knock and blah blah blah. And
I really wanted to check the other rooms, but something about this kind of scene gave me that sense of urgency.
yeah,
So like I listened to one door and then I was like, I feel like if I go in the room that I have the key to, things aren't going to work out.
people sounded busy in one of the rooms, and
Yeah.
then there was just one door at the end of the hallway. You go to the end of the hallway, it's the one you're looking for, and you
I wouldn't
try
either.
the key in the door in the lock. Well, no, before you go to, you're about to go and enter it to open it, and it's
No,
like
you actually try to unlock it, and
and it
you're-
doesn't
no.
open. Okay.
She's
Well,
like,
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, it's you
She
and
says
Beauty
her
standing
key-
at the end of the hallway in some sketchy hotel. and then-
she tries
oh!
her key, but it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, and then like neither of you can open it with the keys that are supposed to open this door, and her key is supposed to open every door in the hotel. And then guess who comes around the corner and sees you and Beauty about to enter a hotel room together? Beast.
Oh, Beast. Which let me foreshadow this by saying I was both happy and dissatisfied with what happened next, because one, I was like staying out of everyone's business, so I was just like, I don't have time for this. I'm
Yeah.
not getting in between what you guys have. And Homeboy still starts throwing hands with me. So it's kind of disappointing,
Yeah.
but it was also a little bit disappointing because, dog, I wanted. Granted, we're in the middle of town, so like I get why neither of them did, but I wanted a straight up brawl because I want to
would be
see the
awesome.
big bad wolf square off against a dude named the Beast. Like I want to see this.
Well, you could
If
have
I
probably, but I refrained from hitting him again.
Well, I
Is
did
that
my
okay?
very
I
best
did
to
too.
like avoid I mean, straight up, there were quick time events that I let him win because I didn't
wow.
want to keep like fighting him. I didn't know if that
Good for
affected
you.
anything, but I was just
Good
like,
for you. My pride didn't let me lose a quick time. I'm sorry. If
I
I'm
was-
fighting Beast, I'm fighting him because he could probably kill me.
yeah, I don't know. That was an unfortunate scene because it was just like, dude was ready to fight. He was like, he just immediately like, I mean, it looks really bad. I get it.
It obviously does.
However,
yes, I agree. But
And
dude
because
wasn't
she hasn't
listening
even
whatsoever.
told, no, he didn't listen in the slightest. She hasn't told him that she's working there, so everything about it looks so terrible to him. I don't know why he was there in the first place.
Yeah, what caught him?
That was weird.
Out of all
but-
places to go, why was he there?
And not even... Did it
Yeah,
explain
it's
that? Did I
got
miss
to
that?
be- I think they might have, and I might have missed it because he does mention that he was just at the Trip Trap,
Okay.
and that's where. And I'm willing to bet they mentioned something that maybe he wanted to come investigate for
Maybe.
some reason. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure. No, he didn't. Never mind. But yeah, there's got to be a reason. I think we might have missed it, or it could be a plot hole. Who knows? It's an old game, so it's possible. But I did
wish.
like the fact that it seems like each episode they're like giving you a little bit more, just teasing you a little bit more with like the actual big bad wolf that's inside of you.
Yeah.
Because like this time he gets a little bit more hairy, a little stronger. Like I was like, yeah, here we go. We're starting to see how big and bad you really are. I mean, I just beat down Beast. Like that's
Yep.
pretty dope. That's pretty great. That's
Clawed his
an
eyes out.
asterisk. Yeah, I know. And you didn't even have the ability. Well, if you're Nathan, you probably had the option not to. But I wasn't losing those QTEs, dog. Busting those eyes out. See you later, alligators. But so after the whole confrontation, he kind of settles down a little bit after you push him through the door. And,
Yeah.
oh, there's
yeah.
a
That's how you
convenient
open
way
the
to get in.
door. You end up shoving him through.
And then,
Well, that's what's funny is that's the quick time event I lost, and he throws me through the door.
nice.
So,
And so what's interesting is, it show. I thought it was cool how it shows that Beauty and Beast are like true love couple kind of moment, because the moment that he sees what's going on in that room, he immediately turns his attention back to his woman, and he's like, "Don't you dare! Yeah, don't come in. You don't want to see this." He's like, "This isn't right." And of course, she comes in anyway.
Yep.
Because why not? Heaven forbid you listen to somebody for once.
Yep.
And you come to a pretty grim scene of a bloody bed with flowers all over the place.
It's rough.
Yeah, it was pretty
Can
nasty.
I say something? Because I made a prediction before you got the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
When you're inspecting the room, so you walk in, there's you find the troll had something in her hands when you inspect the dead body back at Ichabod's, and she had a flower, and on the bed was like
Indeed.
an outline of flowers around this pile of blood.
Indeed.
And you start going around the room looking at stuff, and there's a wine bottle. And as soon as I saw that wine bottle, I knew who I didn't know. I was like, I know who this is, because it's the same wine bottle that Snow White had to pick up for his massage that Fluffy or whatever the flying monkey's name was,
Bluffkin,
was drinking.
Yeah.
Ichabod Crane.
And it was the same exact wine bottle. So I was like,
and you
oh my
thought
God.
for sure it was Bluffkin, that little devil.
No.
But I think maybe I hit the wrong, I found the wrong clue first because I didn't notice the bottle for some reason.
It was on the table by the cassette.
Okay. I picked up the cassette and just immediately went to the cassette player. And that's when you heard the music and, you kind of investigated more and found the picture under the bed, which officially revealed that it was Ichabod Crane. That dirty dog. And he's a freak.
He's
an
creepy.
absolute freak. Yeah,
he glamored her as Snow White.
Yeah,
but
which is super weird because that's his. I don't. You know what?
Weird.
If they're gonna get me with another glamour, they got me hook, line, and sinker because I already hate the guy. I'll kill him just out of principle. Yeah. Like my good streak is here, but I gotta remind people why I'm the big bad wolf, and if that means I have to kill my superior and take his position, then so be it, because that's what's about to happen. But yeah, he was looking at all the old fairy tales that the Mundies know about her, and put the whole scene together. It was super creeper vibes.
Yep.
And yeah, that was pretty nuts. So you even find the Snow White dress. He put her in the dress.
The old time Snow White dress.
The apple, yeah, you find the apple with the bite taken out of it. Yeah, dude, that was absolutely nuts. And then of course it kind of ends with Ichabod Crane seeing everything happen through the mirror, and he breaks the poor mirror. We can't use the mirror no more.
I was annoyed.
And then
the mirror did not deserve
the unfortunate next time on The Wolf Among Us.
I didn't watch that. I don't watch next times. I don't like that.
Dude, well then I won't say it because they it seems like they spoil something. Josh, did you watch the next time?
I always do because I didn't know you could skip them. I just thought it was
I didn't know you could either.
But
I won't spoil anything. But Josh, the big black thing, you know what I'm talking about?
No. This was from 3 weeks ago, so.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. I've been trying to remember the best, but you're doing a better job here because.
Well, I also had to play both of them twice, so yeah. But yeah, so they give a couple hints on kind of what's going to happen next episode, like they usually do.
I do know what's his face was sitting at Ichabod's desk, and he's like, "Management's going to be changing around here."
I forgot about that. Oh yeah. Oh, I hope he doesn't get in charge. That'd be really bad for me.
Because he was leaning back with his feet up on the desk, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be good."
Yeah. Likewise. But that is pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything else to add before we move along?
Not really. I'm pretty solid there. It was. I think it's a really interesting game. I think Telltale, it makes me want to play the other games. I've just heard good things about them, but actually playing one, It's just nice to have a game that makes you make decisions that actually affect the story and more than like a change of dialogue. And there's a lot of games that kind of make you make faux decisions that really don't actually change anything.
Well, and I'm waiting for that to come true because out of all the times where it's like so and so will remember that, we haven't really come across a point where like them remembering something you've done.
So I will say with Telltale games, there's not like a banner like that'll pop up when it happens. But like they do make it very evident that like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen since you ripped Gren's arm off, but there's going to be a point where that pays off. I guarantee it, because they're very overt with those things based on some of the other Telltale games I played.
I'm wondering if the way I treated Holly, you know, with giving her the body, sitting down and talking to her, because she kicked Grim out. You know, Grim's like, I'm not leaving you alone, and she's like, leave, you're done.
Yeah.
And if you look up his, what are they called? The Fable Stories books?
Yeah, his little bit of lore or whatever, yeah.
He will treat you like a king queen if you leave him alone.
Yeah, so I've heard.
And,
he just wants to be left alone, but like I don't know. I just don't.
So
he's
I'm
the worst.
if like how I treated Holly will kind of like have something to affect if his like coming at me for the arm thing.
Maybe.
I can tell you from playing 10 minutes of the next episode that it will. It will.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably play it a little bit later in the week, so it's more fresh in my mind when we do the next episode. But
yeah, before we move on real quick, though, I did say that I was going to expand on my crackpot theory. Ooh, because those ribbons definitely have something to play.
Okay, fair enough. You lost your mind when I said they didn't.
Dude, I know. Because both of them worked at the same place. So obviously it's got something to do with Georgie.
Yeah.
It might just be something as simple as like that's how he keeps like his employees in check.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the whole discretion is our guarantee. That might be how he does it. But it looks really suspicious that both of the heads were severed the same way. Both of them had those same ribbons. Now, obviously, Lily's didn't have her on her, but you know that she had one because she worked there, and everybody who works there has a ribbon, and everybody who's worked there so far has said that same stupid phrase.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm willing to bet
track of them, like a GPS.
I'm thinking it's some sort of way that he either keeps track of them, or he's like I would say he's kind of the underling to whoever really is in charge. Like, I don't think Ichabod is going to be like the final villain per se.
No,
I think
so.
Like him and Georgie are kind of like, yeah, I think they're both kind of on the same level. Like they're probably serving the same guy above it that we're going to find out about later. But I believe that's going to have more to play. I'm still thinking that those ribbons are what's cutting the heads off. I'm assuming if you untie the ribbon, it just, that's my guess. Because it looks, you know, it's like, it's a clean cut, but it's like wavy.
Like
and
a
it's
cursed D&D object.
So you're doubling down on that. You're doubling down on the ribbons.
100%.
I hope it turns out to be that, because I'm going to be very
I'd
impressed.
be super pumped if it is. I'd be super pumped. Yeah. But that's enough of the crackpot theory. I'm sure we'll have more in episode 3. Let's hope.
Good stuff. Looking forward to talking about the next one and just our overall thoughts on the game in the end. You know, it's a good time. I enjoy this. I always enjoy having a new game to play with you fellas.
Indeed.
How many episodes are there?
I don't know. It's like
5, I think. Yeah, I believe there's 5. I think I clicked through them today, and they just
The Wolf Among Us. How many episodes are in it? Internet connectivity issues. Just kidding. 5 episodes. You're right.
Okay, gotcha. Which, you know, fun time explaining our thoughts on the game as usual, but it's time to segue into.
You ever think maybe you ever do that?
Fantasy draft.
What's our fantasy draft today?
So the fantasy draft today, I was trying to think of a good one. You know, we've done a lot of different things, and I had one.
My first choice is Oscar the Grouch.
potentially an answer. But I was thinking about a good one, and I had one, and I was like, dog, it's about food again. Like, I gotta stop coming up with stuff about food.
They're great.
So
we'll do whatever.
So I didn't do a food one. But I figured we could switch it up a bit. Fantasy draft on who we think are the worst, not the best, the worst protagonists of their stories. So who is supposed to be the main character, the good guy? You know, it can be however you think. My initial thoughts were like, who is either like bad at doing their protag thing, or who is like actually not as good as they think they are. Just somebody who really kind of sucks.
But you're not saying like badly written. You mean just like
no?
Is this like in any story?
Yeah, any sort
not
of
like just games
or story. Okay. No, not just games.
Just like they're the protagonist and they turn out to be a bad guy, pretty much, or like they turn out like
it's protagonist. So you know, they're
like
be like main character.
They're not like the villain. Yeah, they're
like
one of the main characters, if not the main character.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I have my number one, but I feel like it's obvious.
The bad person.
Yeah,
it's not like the villain of a story. It's like a protagonist, like a main character or a side character who's a big character that
usually
turns out to not really be a good guy, or like turns out to not really be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Basically,
almost
just,
like an anti-hero or something.
Yeah, protagonist that sucks at being a protagonist.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's what I was going for.
Well, what's the order?
So what's the order, Josh? You always know this. I don't.
Yeah, I never remember this.
Me, Andrew, me, Nathan.
Okay, Walter White.
Walter, explain.
I took that off the table.
No, that's a really good one.
Because
it really is, but I want to hear your reasoning.
Walter White starts off as just like this normal, like 50-something, maybe almost 60, like older man. He's just a normal dude. Then he finds out, he's dying of cancer. He's a teacher, chemistry teacher, seems very intelligent. Really just the most average, like older, intelligent, prideful guy. And
just the most average, I like that.
Yeah, he's just very, very just an average dude. And he ends up getting into the drug business. I'm not going to spoil all of Breaking Bad, but like if you haven't watched it by now and you have not ever heard, but like dude just goes down this dark path that he goes from the beginning of just this normal dude, and then it's like, okay, well I have inoperable lung cancer. You know what? Fine. Straight up. This is Breaking Bad spoilers. You can skip this part if you want to, but like, so I'm going to take care of my family the only way I know how. I'm going to get into drugs. So basically and they had a very good scene beforehand of him going on a ride along with his his brother-in-law, I think his name is Hank.
Yeah.
Have you both seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
His name is Hank, and he goes on a ride along with him. Dude's a DEA agent. They go on like a drug bust, and this is very much like setting the seed in Walt's mind. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but this is setting the seed in his mind that you can make tons of money doing drug stuff. Because like he's talking with Hank about it, and he's like talking about how they had like millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff that they were selling, and they were making ridiculous money. And so in his head, he ends up like getting with a former student who he finds out is in the business, and he says, I'm going to learn how to make meth, and they start cooking together and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, over a long period of time, over like the next few years of his life, he basically becomes like a drug lord, like a drug kingpin. He makes the best crystal meth in all of the world as far as they know. Like it's the most like pure, incredible, like he's just like he knows chemistry really well, and so he knows how to make it really well. And it also has this like he just goes down this pipeline to the very end, final episode or the second to last episode, I think it's the final episode, where he's completely like he has been in hiding for all this time, and he finally comes out of hiding. He was like in this cabin, like some dude like basically he paid him to keep him hidden because the police were after him. This is like at the end of the story. He ends up going back home, finds his wife, and he tells her that he did it for him. He didn't really do it for his family. In the end, he had been very against the idea, or he didn't like how his life turned out. He was supposed to be with like these people, he had this company where he would have been rich and had this really successful life and whatnot with this company called Gray Matter. And he ended up that not working out due to his pride. He was a very prideful man. And that's a long story, but he basically tells his wife that he starts off lying to himself, saying that he's going to do this to make money for his family, but he did it all for himself. He just is. It's an incredible slow burn of watching this guy you realize is not the good guy, and he's not the guy. Like, there's like halfway through, you kind of stop rooting for him, and you're like, oh crap, he's actually the worst.
Yeah,
and
Unpopular
I think it was. Yeah, what's up?
Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, I think he's like the perfect answer to this question, really. I mean, everyone can have their own opinion, but in my opinion, he's like the perfect, because he is like written off as the main character, the protagonist. You're following his perspective from the very beginning, and you're rooting for him. He's doing this for his family. Obviously, you don't really want to root for like a drug, like there's a lot of like gray areas in the show. Like, you're not really wanting to root for like someone getting into making drugs, supplying drugs for people. But I mean, that's pretty much everyone in this show. Like, it's hard to root for. Like, there's not too many people to root for except for the normal people who aren't in the business, like the family members and stuff like that. But I just think it's incredibly well-written story, well-written character, and it's just a slow descent into one day when you're watching the show realizing, wait, this is actually the villain. I just thought it was super cool.
For sure. I agree.
What were you going to say about it?
Unpopular opinion. I was not very impressed with that show. I was right around the time that I started.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was right around the time I started really watching like different animes and getting kind of like, you realize watching anime that there are absolutely asinine plots in those things.
Yeah.
So like normal things stop surprising you, and I started getting desensitized to that, and I was like, because like the big twist, and you've already said spoiler tag, but the big twist of like Gus Fring, I was like, how did you not see that coming?
Anime killed Breaking Bad for you.
Yes, it did. Absolutely.
And that's the episode. That's the episode title. Anime killed Breaking Bad.
Josh, who's your protagonist that's not good at being a protagonist?
I'm gonna say this one because it might be more susceptible to be taken than the last one, because I doubt any of you have watched the last one. I'm gonna say the mother from Ozark.
I've not.
I have not seen it.
Please don't spoil it for me. I've seen the first episode. First season a long time ago. I want to watch it so badly.
So
don't spoil too much, but like if you can kind of give some reasons as to why. You also don't have to give any reasons. People watching this might have seen it and might understand.
Well, how about this, so that we don't spoil anything? Is it for similar reasons like Breaking Bad, or is it for something different?
It's the same as Breaking Bad, but for multiple reasons. Like, Walter did it for his family in the beginning, and then when he found out he was cancer-free, he was like, oh man, I really like this stuff. Like,
yeah, he kept going.
I'm gonna make an empire out of this, and then it went crazy. You know, with this, it started as like, I need to protect the family, and then it went down the same path, but for different reasons. Yeah. So
it's kind of like a similar descent in a way, like almost like a greed, like greed reasons, taking over.
Like, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. So I get 2 in a row, so I know no one's taking mine, thank goodness. I've made reference to this one before, and I'm going to stick beside it. But freaking Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory is actually a villain, dude. Straight up. This guy couldn't get out of bed, quote unquote, for like 30 years or some crap. And then the moment that his grandson thinks he has a chance of inheriting a chocolate factory and like $1 gazillion, my man says, "Rise up, Jesus, help me, I can stand again." And then all of a sudden he's like this acrobat. He's jumping around, dancing. Yep. He's like helping. His mind obviously isn't affected by whatever was affecting him, because he's helping him solve these completely absurd puzzles to win a chocolate factory. And it's just like, Grandpa Joe, you're actually a piece of grandpa crap, and I don't like you.
Wow. I love how much you hate him.
Dude, I don't like him. I didn't like the movie because it was kind of creepy when I was a kid, but like Grandpa Joe always rubbed me the wrong way. He is the picture perfect ideal of someone who is only there when good times roll. Otherwise, he hates you. But that's Grandpa Joe. My second one has to be, since this is a gaming channel, had to go with a gamer one. Donkey Kong is the worst protagonist because he's not even a donkey. He is a monkey / gorilla. Just
all
kidding.
right. Thanks for watching
I had to. No, Josh did kind of allude to it though. I am gonna go out on a limb and be a little controversial and say Mario is actually not a great guy.
Okay.
Despite what they've done, he pretty single-handedly dismantles multiple groups of people, multiple different species of people. No questions asked. You see a Goomba, on the spot, you're dead. I'm jumping on you. You see a Koopa Troopa, on the spot, jumping on your shell, throwing you down, a never-ending course, killing you. Never stops to ask questions for those guys. You know what? I get it. Bowser might be a bad dude. He kidnaps people, obviously. That's a bad thing. But what gives you, a plumber, the ability to go commit genocide on 2 different races, multiple, probably more, just because you're trying to save a girl?
You're a page out of Mein Kampf.
Yeah, he is following Hitler. That's why he has a stay mustache. Time to move on.
All right.
Mario is Hitler.
My second option is the main mother from the TV show Good Girls.
Josh, I'm getting a feeling that you don't like mothers here.
Never seen it.
My mom has Tourette's.
Mine does too. It's very strange.
Same.
Nathan, I want to ask you a question. Okay.
What? What's up?
So, I watched this movie. It's a true story about the spy who played baseball. You see that movie?
The spy.
The guy
who played baseball.
He was a catcher or something. It's along those lines of some.
Do you have a name of the movie?
No, that's the movie.
Oh, it's called that.
The main character is the dude who plays Ant-Man.
Paul shoot! Rudd. Thank you, Paul Rudd. Yeah.
And it's about in World War II when America thought that they were making a nuclear bomb. They were sending spies over to capture the scientist Heisenberg because they thought he was helping them make the bomb.
Yeah.
What's the connection to Walter White being Heisenberg and a nuclear physicist?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't either.
I'm going to be honest. I think I might have known last I watched through, but I'm not sure.
I didn't know who Heisenberg was, period. I'm sure he's that guy, but I didn't know. I'm not that smart.
Can we pick something that's real life? A character in real life?
So, yeah. Sure. As long as they're a protagonist that's not being protagonist.
Yeah. Okay.
What, Nathan?
Huh?
You kept saying Josh. What?
I think he was going to ask who you picked.
Yeah.
Oh. I just said the mom from...
I forgot you said that because I was like, I have no clue who that is, and I tuned it out. Okay, that makes sense.
From where? He didn't finish, and I need to know.
He forgot too. Good Girls. I've never...
Wait! I can't hear him!
That's a new show. That's a relatively new show. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it, though.
The show.
Good Girls.
Good Girls.
Okay.
He said that.
Every time I tried to hear it, something would happen. Nathan would make a noise or talk, and I couldn't hear it. I was getting frustrated.
What'd you say? Dog, I'm going to say Oppenheimer.
Still don't know what he's about. Hit me.
I mean, this is much more of like a recent, like, a public story, not just like a story of history, but because they made the movie Oppenheimer recently, more people are aware of the story, so I thought it might be fitting. But, I mean, dude, I don't know why I'm blanking on his first name right now, which is super annoying, because, like, I want to actually be able to say his name, but his last name is Oppenheimer, and he basically is the reason he pioneered. He was the main driving force behind the first like nuclear bomb, and
the Manhattan Project. Like
he was kind of like, I mean, just taking the story, like the movie Oppenheimer, which is like a very concise, like it's a good take, it's a good retelling of history of what happened. if you want to look at it from that perspective of like him before until like him actually creating the bomb, he immediately, like as soon as it's used, at least the way it was portrayed in the show, he's like haunted by the fact that he's actually allowed all these people to be killed by this bomb when they dropped it on Japan. And then the second one, Fat Boy and Little Man. It was Fat Man and Little Boy. Wait, which one was it?
It was
Fat Boy and Little Man, right?
Boy saying the same thing as me.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so
I think yeah, Little Boy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But he ends up like, because like they're using this to try to stop the war, but they kill so many innocent people along the way because they're just they bomb like. I mean, that's a very deep thing to get into, and it's not something. I mean, it's just he becomes very like outspoken about it, about how terrible the technology actually is. But he's the one who ended up creating it in the first place and giving us that power. And it's a fascinating, like, whether you look at it just from a historical perspective or watch the movie Oppenheimer, it's a very fascinating take, or interesting, like, way to see someone go from, like, just creating something so destructive and then regretting it afterward. Like, if only he had regretted it beforehand. Like,
Yeah.
but I also get, like, from before then, they wanted to stop the war. They wanted to, like, in their mind, they were saving more lives. Like, it was like the...
yeah.
It was
I mean, that's the whole ideology of you just got to carry
That's
a bigger
exactly
stick
what it
than the
was.
next guy. Yeah.
But man, I wish the world had never gotten nuclear bombs. That's too much. It's way too much.
Even in movies, like...
yeah.
The solution, even in the Avengers movies, they're like, we have all this tech, all this alien technology, and somehow dropping a nuke on them is just as bad, if not worse, than what the enemy has every time.
It's kind of insane how,
yeah,
like we think about like all these crazy sci-fi concepts, and then we have nukes, and this is a real thing in our lives that we don't experience, but could happen at any time, given the right
and
circumstances.
we would only experience it once.
Like a lot of things.
Wait, you guys have nukes? We only have Moabs.
You guys are getting paid, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I think I just think Oppenheimer is a solid choice for that. And I think actually, if we want to go, I have a bit of a conspiracy theory about this one, bit of a crackpot theory. Oppenheimer is Walter White. Thanks, folks. Have a good night.
I like that. Good call.
Yes, sir.
But now it's time for my second favorite part of the podcast.
Oh, the part where we say goodbye.
Time for the shameless plugs.
All
Where
right.
can we be found, Nathan?
Podcasting platforms, also YouTube, which I think everything but like Apple. I need to get that's a big one though.
Right.
That's a big one. I should
right.
probably get it on there soon. It requires some weird like extra hoop to jump through, and at the time I said, I don't want to do extra work. So yeah, we're gonna eventually be on Apple. But you can find us anywhere. Just Google My Mom Has Tourette's podcast. Look up, search in their podcasting app.
The only ones to pop up. If we're not, I will be surprised.
If you just type in Tourette's and scroll down a bit, you'll see our goofy logo. So
eventually, my shameless shout out, because I like shouting out people that watch the podcast that tell me about it. One of my friends from Japan was messaging me recently and was actually asking me a question on how we record our content and what kind of programs and editing software we use. So shout out to Bethany. She lives in Japan. She used to work with me when I was a travel agent. She's awesome because she was asking me questions about our podcast that I couldn't even remember happened because of concussion brain. But follow her on social media. Her name is Bethany, BLEWS, Bethany Blues. She's classically trained in opera. She does a lot of singing and stuff. So if you like music content, go there. And also shameless plug. She really is. I didn't think, she was one of those people I kind of threw the links at, but I was just like, don't think this is going to work. This don't seem like it's up your alley. Apparently she watches all of them and knows things I don't. So
that's awesome.
Shout out to
Bethany.
her, and shout out to Chad from GameStop.
Oh, Chad.
One of the homies from GameStop, always asking,
GameStop
always
homies.
telling me about it. Chatty McChatterson is a pretty great guy, so shout out to him. And
I trained.
shout out
There's
to-
more.
Tad.
Yeah, one last one. I will shout out my mom because she still hasn't talked to me about the podcast episode where I talked about having one at her funeral, and so I don't know if she's forgiven me or just hasn't seen it. But
I'm
eventually
scared.
she will, and yeah, shout
Yup.
out mom, go mom.
Shout out to Tyler, who works at the security company with me. He works at a different site. I told him about the podcast, and if you're seeing this, Tyler, because he did ask about it. I didn't even be like, yo, look it up. He was like, hey, what's it called? I said, haha, this is the fun part. My mom has Tourette's podcast. I love saying that because I don't know how people are going to react always. But yeah, if you're seeing this and you've actually watched this episode and you're seeing the end, you get this shout out, give me a text or something. Let me know, because then I'll actually know you're watching. But
and if you do watch it, Tyler, you get the biggest of honors bestowed upon you.
A chicken nugget. Or,
Go, Tyler!
That,
Let's
yeah,
go! Yeah.
that, not a chicken nugget. We're done with that.
Oh, I can still give him a chicken nugget if he responds this week. I'm down with that.
Fair
I'll
enough,
send
fair
him one.
enough. Josh, any shout outs?
Nope, nobody cares.
That's not okay. People care.
We do.
Emotional damage.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I think we're done with official outros, boys.
Yeah, I don't know. None of this makes any sense anymore.